Nicole spent her childhood in Libertyville, Illinois. Most of the time was spent outside playing, as cable television was not a thing yet. In the fall of 1995, she started her career at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside, transferring from college to Lake County. In 1998, she graduated. During her time here, she was a full-time student, including the summers. Her initial major was psychology. However, her roommate was a comm major, and after taking some gen ed comm classes, she soon turned into a double major with psychology and communications. She has not yet pursued any further education, but has been considering going into counseling with higher education. During her time here, she lived in the university apartments. Coming from a place of low diversity and having her own room, she said there was something to be said for having shared living space. She had an exchange student from Japan, 2 from inner city Milwaukee, and 1 from Laos. She learned to cook a bunch of interesting meals. One of her funniest memories was prank wars with the apartment of boys that lived next door. The boys put goose feet around her apartment, and the apartment was surrounded. She had to call her professor since she could not get out of her apartment to get to class in time. Nicole's initial plans were to go to a small school in Libertyville called Lake Forest. Her parents' deal was, since that school was out of budget, she would go to CLC for 2 years and then transfer. That's when a professor suggested Parkside. Her geology teacher wanted them to come up to the University of Wisconsin-Parkside for an extra credit geology project. He told her about non-resident scholar programs, compared a list of what she wanted, and decided that this was the place for her. Fun fact, her and 15 to 20 students started what we now know and love as the WIPZ. She was also on Parkside Activities Board, or PAB, and started the Backyard Bash. During her time here, there was a lot of segregated activities of crowds that would come. So she decided the Backyard Bash would be a good way to get everyone together, and in 1996 she threw it together. They even had a reggae band attend to everyone's needs at the time. Speaking of the radio station, in the 70s and 80s Parkside had a radio station, but in 1996 the radio station was nowhere to be found, so Nicole and some of her friends went to the basement and found the old equipment. They wanted the students to have their voice back. One of her first jobs out of college was actually the admissions at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside. She held open houses and college fairs. Her position now is to do a lot of outreach and admission things. As a student, she received general awards for different organizations she was a part of, and also received the Distinguished Leader of the Year for her senior year. She said she misses the people who have retired and moved on or passed away, and you wish they were still at the university. And it's great now to see how WIPZ is and how it has built up. She gives credits to Terry Havel, a teacher at Burlington that got WIPZ started. He directed them on how to do everything. He was the station's advisor in 2000. She claimed he was the patron saint of WIPZ. As a child, Nicole wanted to be a dolphin trainer or a zoo worker. As school progressed, she realized she'd much rather work with people than animals. Now, she works with UW Extension, doing outreach education, and offers free education for each food-wise. She goes into areas that are protected classes and low limited families, helping them know how to budget food for the month. She holds cooking classes, in-school education for 1st through 5th grade students, teaching the students about food. She even said she has children that have never tasted a fresh vegetable in their life. She's unsure about moving up from this position. She loved working with older kids in higher education and counseling, and doing executive function coaching with study skills and organization. She took 6 years off to raise her children and tutor out of Lake Forest during that time. She often refers coworkers' kids to the university and is constantly putting Parkside's name in her children's ears. Nicole's been in her current position for a little bit over 3 years. She loves the mission of the UW system and wanted to do something specifically with youth and parents. Recruiting Northern Illinois, Chicago, all the way to Greenfield needed some less travel. On their own with 2 young kids along the way, with helping to care for a family who had a parent with cancer was a little bit much. Once both of her children were in full-time school, she realized though she wanted to be busy every day. One of her favorite professors on campus was Wendy Lee Hurwitz, and the semantic theory class she taught. She recalled having to analyze the Breakfast Club and shouting out, "Yes!" since it was one of her favorites. She also talked about food and culture and how it brought everyone together. She wished there was more housing when she went here. Her senior year Ranger opened up, and when she worked here, Pike was built, and the real WIPZ station space.